I'm sure that throughout your life you've been told to see the good in the bad, to look at negative things in a positive light, and you've probably always wondered why. You've probably always wondered if that's even helpful. Well, I used to be the same, honestly, thinking that what's the fucking point of looking into this bad thing to try and see good in it? You know, it's stupid, right? But when you really think about it, it's actually, it can be very helpful, it can be very positive. It just depends on what you're looking at. Because, you know, you're not meant to look at these bad things all the time. There's some things that are just plain bad, right? Some things that you don't want to mess with, and that's fine, that's normal. But there's a few things that you see as bad, but in reality are probably good. Good for you, good for your brain, and just good in general. For example, something like studying, something like doing work. People see it in a very negative light. You know, doing work, putting hours in and working on their brain. People don't like doing that. People see that in a negative light. And if I were to tell you now, if you're studying, if you're doing work and you don't like it, and I was to tell you now, just try see the positives in it, what would you start thinking of? You might sit there for a few minutes and just think, what are the positives in studying? What are the positives in work? What are the positives in the things that you do not like? Now, I'm gonna just stick with the studying example because that one probably relates most to me. And positives of studying, the positives of work. Work, that's easy, you know, you're making money. There's no bad about making money, is there? But then there's studying, it's a complicated one in the sense that not many people would even see what I'm about to say as a positive thing, but I hope the way that I phrase it makes it sound a lot more positive than it is. No, it is very positive. Yeah. So studying, right? When you obviously, if you're seeing studying in a negative light, you do not want to study. It's that simple, right? If you see it in a negative light, that's obviously just you saying, I don't want to study, I don't want to do this, I don't want to work, I don't want to do that. Right? And that's fine. But by viewing it in a positive light, you might start thinking, by studying, I'm gonna get better grades, and that's the simple shit. That's shit that you don't even really need to think about to know that. But you can now think of a little more complicated. When you study, you're growing your brain. When you do things that you do not want to do, you are growing your brain. You're growing that part of your brain that kind of just says, fuck you, I'm gonna do it anyways. And that's the part that we like, because that part is what gets you places. And you need to keep building that part. So, when you don't feel like doing work because you don't like doing work, just sit back and think, what's the positives of me doing this work? One, you might be getting money out of it, which that's obviously great. But two, you are growing your brain. You are building strength within your brain. It's like weightlifting. When you lift a weight, you grow your muscle. In the same way that when you do something you don't want to do, when you do something hard, for example work, for example studying, you grow your brain. You make your brain stronger, and you make your brain more willing to do these things. You make yourself more willing to do the work the next time. Because then, eventually, you won't see it as something hard or that you have to do. You see it as something you want to do. Something that's easy for you to do, because you eventually get used to doing it. So by viewing things in a positive light, you are now able to easily do your work, easily study, easily do any of these tasks that you used to find difficult and annoying and saw in a negative light. So now do you see the positive impact of looking at things in a good light? But once again, I'm just going to put that out there, that not everything has its positives. Those were just two examples. Some things, there's no point of trying to find positives in them because you won't, and it's a waste of time. I'm trying to think of an example of one of those. And I guess one could be like just toxic people in general. You know, if you're trying to find a positive in a person, and that person is just rude, and they're showing no signs that they want to change, rather than looking for the positives, just kind of leave it. So you have to know where the positives are, where to look for them. And if you can figure that out, then you can figure anything out. But yeah, it's that simple, really. If you look at things in a positive light, it makes you able to do those things a lot easier. That's all I have to say, really. And hopefully this helped. And thank you for watching.